Hey, Sean.
Hey, Rich. Erd.
Guess what?
What?
We have found a new home on the internet, a home just for us. It was built just for us, and it's made just for us.
Where's that?
That would be the Pod Brothers Network.
Pod Brothers Network. We're bringing the bromance to Pod Bros.
Yes. Oh, see, I see what you did there. You did a bros and Oh my God. Oh, so much.
It's meant for us.
I'm just saying, like, how can you not like a network with other great shows like Dave's Nerd Compendium, Pencil and Ink Reviews, and The Accidental Wrestling Fan? This is the peanut butter to our chocolate.
It is, and they got like Players versus Podcasts and the Guy Huddle. I mean, what more can you ask for?
So we got to tell everybody, check us out on all our regular venues as well as our new home on Pod Brothers.
Pod Bros, the best podcast site on the internet.
Well, it is now. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. I was trying to put give it like an ambiance, like impending doom.
But it's not impending doom.
No, it's not impending doom. It's not. No foreboding here. I really don't know where to go with this now because I was like, ooh, and then it was like, meh.
Well, it's a mild milestone right now. We're up to this is going to be our 25th episode.
Ooh, a mild-mannered milestone.
Yeah, we're halfway to a full year.
Aww.
I think they say 52's the full year, but they usually on podcasts give you 2 weeks off. But we don't take weeks off, so I guess
right.
we're one podcast away from our half year anniversary.
Working 9 to 5, no way to make a living. No, yes, we're at 25 episodes. So I don't know what we should. Was I supposed to get you something? What's the protocol here? What's the
look out your window.
What? It's a new car.
No, it's me waving. I'm outside. Let me in. No,
okay.
So, I don't really have a bunch for excitingness for the 25th episode. I know we're kind of preparing for it, but
I know we were jonesing for it, and I'm like, oh, we should do something stellar and spectacular and amazing and full of magic and wonder, and we came up with Bupkis.
Yeah.
So, right. This should be that did you ever watch that show Stuart Saves His Family or a movie Stuart Saves with Al Franken? Al Franken had this character on Saturday Night Live, Stuart Smalley, where it was like I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and doggone it, people like me.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, I had this movie, and in the movie, Stuart, he has a show, and he gets signed on to another network, and they, for some reason the schedule gets crunched, so they have to film all 22 or 26 episodes within a day. So, so they come up with all these different show topics, and there's one show where he's like, there was one show, I even did a show that said, I don't have to have a topic today. And I feel like that's this one.
It's
today
our non-topic
is the
day.
I don't have to have a topic day. But the fact that I have to explain that I spent the last 2 minutes explaining that in detail, I think it kind of took away the funny.
So I guess just kick into a funny story. I've talked to you about Tiffany before and how she doesn't really care for movies too much because she just gets too emotionally invested into them.
Right.
So I ran across this trailer called Chappie. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not.
No.
It's the story of somebody creating artificial intelligence and creating a robot and turning it on and it kind of going through the process of growing up as a human because it's it's just like a child. It needs to learn.
Oh God!
And what caught my attention on this show, besides the fact that you're freaked out by AI stuff, did you ever get a chance to listen to the group Die Antwoord?
No.
You need to check them out. It's the worst, best thing that you will ever see.
The worst, best thing I'll ever see.
Yeah, they have a song called "Enter the Ninja," and it's amazing. It's the chick that's in the band's like real creepy looking. There's a song called I think you're freaky and I like you a lot. It's
So
pretty
like
awesome.
it sounds like all these were written by like a 12-year-old boy.
Essentially, yeah, pretty much. It's very rough lyrics. There's one it's called "You Make a Ninja Wanna Fuck," and it starts out. It's like, "Hey, baby, you're beautiful.
Okay, I might have to switch this. Sounds like it was written by a 10-year-old boy.
You make a ninja
It
wanna
has
fuck."
yeah, he has like like notebooks and like they all have like ninjas drawn on them. He has like ninjas rock in really big letters on the front of a notebook.
On the other pages is chicks with boobs, and he's putting the pages together. It's like ninja wanna
Ninjas
fuck. That's a
rock!
song. But I caught a picture of this trailer, Chappie, and they were in it. And I'm like, oh, this has to be a train wreck.
Oh God.
So I flip it on, and the parts that they're in, they seem like they act pretty decent.
Okay.
So I showed Tiffany. I'm like, she might like this movie. And so I showed her right before we started working out, and it's kind of a sad story. It's basically like people scared of the unknown kind of thing.
They're not scared of the unknown. They're scared of fucking robots that are going to eventually rise up and kill them.
Yeah,
And I think that's a perfectly valid fear.
I agree. So I show this, and like it's all about like he's just like a kid and like misunderstood, and right when the
Whatever.
trailer ends,
I bet robots made this movie. That's what I think.
that's what I told her.
It's a propaganda film.
Yeah, that's what I told her. Because right after it finished, I kind of like chuckles, like, I might go see it. And she rubs her eyes. She's like, I'm not gonna cry over a trailer.
Oh God. This is how they get you.
That's what triggered it. I'm like, wait a second. It's like this seems like this is propaganda by
It is.
It's like, oh, we're safe. We're your friends.
Yeah, it's like what? It's like those old movies, like for the Hitler Youth. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
So now when Chappie comes out, you can have your own Chappie too.
Right, and then we'll all have Chappies, and then that's when it happens.
But the bad guy in this movie, just to show you that they're trying to get you to change your mind on like humans. The bad guy in this movie is Wolverine. Hugh Jackman is the bad guy in this movie.
Is the bad guy.
Yep.
That's what's so. What is he? Is he like the the evil teacher or the evil neighbor that just doesn't understand?
It sounds like he's kind of like a spokesman for the government or something, and he goes on the idea of like AI is artificial intelligence is just too unpredictable. We don't understand it enough, and it's one of those things that we don't know what's going to happen with it. We can't trust it. But yeah, he's the protagonist. He's the guy who doesn't trust it, who just doesn't understand.
Totally, yeah. I'm totally behind Hugh Jackman. I think we should go to this movie and root for the villain.
Yeah,
and incite others to root for the villain as well. Come
don't
on!
buy in.
It's the only
don't
time
buy into the propaganda.
It's the only time when it's gonna be acceptable to be like, oh, screw this kid. Kid should die. Kill the child. Kill the child.
I know you're a huge proponent against AI and artificial intelligence.
I think that is what's going to spell doom for the human race. It's either that or just the planet explodes.
Well, I think Stephen Hawking has a paper out there that says like artificial intelligence will be the doom of humanity.
Right? And I mean, that's Stephen goddamn Hawking.
Yeah. He's also the guy that says if aliens ever came here, it'd be like the Pilgrims when they went to the New World.
Although, do you find it ironic that he would recite a paper railing against the development of artificial intelligence using a voice that sounds like a robot?
That's a good point.
Wonder
what he knows. Maybe
robots are bad.
I am not a robot.
I'm just robots are terrible.
So are you trying to say that he's a robot?
You never know. He's super smart and he talks with a robot voice. So I mean, connect the dots.
It's crazy to think how smart he is, and there's a new movie out with him in it, and just kind of looks at like his great like exposure to everything and like what all the things that he kind of figured out, and
right
the disease that kind of wasted him away.
Who's playing him in that movie?
Somebody that I didn't recognize his name.
I can't think of it either. There's another movie that I kind of want to see. It's about the British mathematician Alan Turing
Oh yeah, with your
with
isn't there some good actor playing that
Benedict
guy?
fucking Cumberbatch. Plays Alan Turing. Alan Turing is was a mathematician that was hired by the British government during World War II, and he actually developed what people consider to be the first computer, and he actually used it to break what the Nazi code. Nazis encoded their messages using a machine they called an Enigma machine.
Mm-hmm.
And so Turing actually developed another machine that broke the Nazi code. And actually, Winston Churchill said that it had if it had that not been done, then the war might have gone on for another 2 years.
Oh man.
So
So my question to you about Mr. Benedict Cumberbatch, if he played one of the female lifeguards in a Baywatch movie, a TV adaptation of a Baywatch movie, would you watch it?
probably because I think he'd do something very extraordinary with character. I mean, look what he did with Sherlock Holmes, just Sherlock fucking Holmes. Which I mean, so far the last person to tackle that role was Robert Downey Jr. and I thought he actually wasn't bad.
I haven't seen either. Did he try to put on a fake accent?
He did.
Okay.
So Robert Downey Jr. played Sherlock Holmes. They had 2 movies. It was good. Like I liked them. And then I saw the BBC show Sherlock, and I was like, "Holy shit, this blows fucking Robert Downey Jr. out of the water." Nothing against him, but Cumberbatch fucking just kills it.
Robert Downey Jr. did 2 movies, and really, if you look at all those that have been done on the BBC, they're really each a movie in themselves.
Yeah,
Because they're like an hour,
I think
20, hour and a half
like,
long.
Yeah, about like it's over an hour each episode. And they actually just aired them on BBC America, and they put them together as like one big. I think they put them together as they put like the first season together as like one long movie. I think
It's like a 3-hour movie,
Yeah,
4-hour movie. I wonder if that's a better route for TV shows to go. Because if you look at a lot of the TV shows, the ones that go like 22, 24 episodes, there's a lot of filler shows in there, so it really feels drawn out. But when you look at the ones that are more compact, like your Game of Thrones, your Walking Dead, things like that are like 12 episodes long, it seems like you get a little bit better content. So I wonder if more shows went to that like hour and a half per episode, do 3 to 4 episodes a year, if you would get more fulfillment out of that, even though it's not, it's like the argument of what is it, quality over
quantity.
Yeah, quality over quantity.
So what you're saying is like make something like instead of having like a show that goes on forever, you would be more apt to seeing things like a mini series.
I think so.
So okay. I might honestly like British television to me. I find very strange because they will take like a really cool concept for a show, and you'll see like they don't call them seasons; they call them series. So they'll have like 2 series of a show, and then they'll just be like, nah, and then they and then you never see it again. There was a show which I fucking was such a good show. It was called Spaced, and it had
Homeboys in Outer Space?
no, it was just Spaced, Spaced, and it was developed by Edgar Wright. This is pre Shaun of the Dead Edgar Wright.
Oh, was this is the one where he didn't he live with a girl or something like that?
Right. You had
yeah.
I can't even think of the guy's name now.
Simon
Pegg.
Pegg.
Simon
I was gonna say
Pegg.
Sean Pegg.
Simon Pegg's in there. Nick Frost is in there. Edgar Wright, writes and directs the show. And like the first season, really fucking funny. The second season, even honestly, like even better, even funnier. And then it's gone. That's it.
So even if like the show does well over there, they still just cancel it for whatever reason.
Yeah, I mean, look at Monty Python. As great as the show Monty Python was, and the wide appeal that only lasted 2 years.
Oh, really?
3 years, I think. Like the show. I mean, I'm not including the movies, or anything. But like though that show was on the BBC for I think like 2 or 3 years.
So were the shows where they post, or the movies where they post the show?
Yes.
Okay.
The first one, Meaning of Life, was just a collection of kind of like a best of sketches from the show.
Okay.
I mean, they refilmed them and redid them and stuff like that. But then after that, then you had Holy Grail, and then you had Life of Brian. Oh no, Meaning of Life was the last one. The first one they did was And Now for Something Completely Different.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Then it was Holy Grail, Life of Brian, and Meaning of Life.
What's the Meaning of Life one about?
It's kind of a kind of like sketches that kind of run together, with like a general general arc in terms of theme, but it's kind of just a lot of sketches kind of thrown together. I would say that Holy Grail and Life of Brian are the most cohesive in terms of a story arc. I watched some documentary about Monty Python, and I didn't know this, but I want to say it was either Holy Grail or Life of Brian. They got funding for that movie from George Harrison. Like I guess Eric Idle was friends with him, and so they went and visited George. And George actually, I didn't know this. George, I think it was for Life of Brian. George put up his house. Like if that movie had not done well, it would have bankrupted him.
Oh,
we're talking like one of the fucking Beatles. Like this is Beatle money, and that movie would have ended him. But that movie actually made him I think either one of or his most money making venture.
I feel like there needs to be a documentary on that showing, because you hear the success stories a lot with that. But how many people that have actually done that, like put their house up or maxed out credit cards to make a movie and didn't like go anywhere with it? Like you don't really hear a ton of those stories.
You don't hear about the failures. All you hear about is the successes.
And I don't know if maybe that's a good thing, because I mean, I'm sure if that's all you ever heard was the failures, like nobody would ever do it, so you would never get any success stories.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you hear like, but see, I would honestly like in terms of something that like somebody's super passionate about to the point where they go into like stupid crazy debt. I don't think the debt really means anything. I mean, the fact that they did it. I think anybody, success or failure, would just look on it as that's something I did.
Yeah.
Like you talk to like Kevin Smith about Clerks, because I mean he went and he had like, I think he went like $50,000 in debt to make that little, to make out that little fucking indie movie, with one camera and but he even said, like if that movie had not done well, I probably still would have tried to make something else. Like I would have spent who knows how many years paying that debt off and then do it all over again.
I think that'd be an interesting look to take, because it's very admirable. Because I know we've probably talked about this numerous times, but he said that as he was having one of the screenings, he said, "All right, you love doing this. Let me pay this off, and then I'll do it again."
Right.
But to pay $50,000 off on credit cards, working just a job at like a Quick Stop, that would take
years.
Yeah, you're looking at a decade at least,
or better, on convenience store clerk wages.
Yeah, probably living it with your parents still. But because you hear him talk about that, and you hear a lot of people, it's like, take that leap of, take that leap to try and do what you want to do. It's dangerous, it seems, though. Not to get too down on that, but like what we do here, there's relatively little risk. But if we said, hey, we're going to quit and do this full time, that's a big risk.
That is a big risk. And then we would do it from the street.
Yeah, we'd have a cardboard, toilet paper roll microphones and an open case for people to throw change into.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Rich.
Hi, Richard.
Today, the man at Burger King yelled at me for going through the trash again.
Did you get a cheeseburger?
No.
Oh, I'm so hungry. Let's do a food draft. My favorite food is 6-month-old cheese.
My favorite food is anything but my own arm.
Hey, Hey, I thought I told you guys to get away from here. Go away. Shh. I'll eat the paper.
Hot mic. That's a car. That's a toilet paper tube, sir.
Why you always got to step on my dreams?
It's a hot mic.
It's a hot mic. That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, so does this mean that we are just like pussies because we don't make that leap?
Well, no, not really. I would say it's just like doing this. Like it's pretty safe. It's not really that much of a financial leap. So the rewards can be. I mean, there's the reward of us getting to actually hang out and talk, and then there's the potential for, getting to actually do this as a living. But even if it stays exactly the way it is, it's not like it's really gonna affect our lives that much. But if we go out and say, hey, I'm gonna go max out 10 credit cards, we're gonna go do zombie bears. We're gonna make zombie bears.
Right.
So we go out, we make zombie bears, and we show it to somebody, and they're like, that's stupid, you wasted your money.
This is the most terrible thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. It's literally just one guy running around going, hey, bear! And then your bears are...
The guy's like,
bears
the guy would be like, look, this is the most terrible thing I've ever seen, and I'm the guy that made Sharknado. So, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then we're like, what? Don't talk. It's a hot mic.
Do you have any leftover cheese?
Because one thing about I hear inspirational stories, and they're very inspiring, and and this, that, and everything else. But a problem I have is there's a pang, there's a twinge in me that in that story it's saying, well, what the fuck are you doing? I did this, and and all this great shit happened for me. So what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? Just sitting around, fucking working a job like a loser. Do something. Do something for once in your life. Fucking that's there's a sense that it kind of pokes me and goads me, and then I get kind of depressed because it doesn't work.
Well, I know that's kind of like with this is, and it's a lot of things like you say. Well, and maybe I probably was a little too much on saying there's not really a point to max out 10 credit cards to try and make a movie. I think that's a huge risk. And you think about Kevin Smith or people who are younger who did that, I'm pretty sure he didn't really have a family dependent on him at that point. So if you're 21, 22 years old, and he even said that was pretty much his college, education there. He did what he would have spent on college, and he did it there.
Right.
A lot higher interest rates, I think, but it still worked out really well for him. So when you have a family, though, you have to try and I think that's kind of what we do is we're trying to do these things as much as we can, but we're not taking the full leap, I guess.
But I'm saying the fact that we're not taking the full leap, there is a sense in that we're just scared. We're scared men.
We're scared to succeed.
Right. We're afraid of the light.
Tiffany,
we'd rather
quit my job, podcasting.
Rather live in the dark.
So if I go up and tell Tiffany right now that I'm just going to quit my job and podcast for the rest of my life, how do you think that's going to go?
You can stay at my place.
Richard understands me. She's like, that's my toaster. Oh. Well, I'm taking the bread.
Bread is all I need. Bread and the remote. Where's the remote? Bread and the remote, and that's all.
Bread, remote, and my dreams. Just the bread, the remote, and my dreams. That's all I need.
And this.
It's toilet paper roll. Don't talk. It's a hot mic.
I feel there's a part of me that kind of depressed myself with that whole conversation. Man, why, you're sitting here, but for me, I will say that I have, a great passion. I do. I have a passion to do this. I like doing this. It's fun to do this. It's fun to, figure out things to talk about, find things to talk about. It's nice to have a conversation. It's nice to follow up, and it's really interesting to see that there's at least one other human being on the earth that finds the two of us having a conversation interesting. Like there's still a sense that boggles my mind.
Yeah, it's been pretty cool that I know like our first 12 episodes there wasn't a lot of interaction from people who like the show, but now there's more people that will comment about something we said that's funny, and I keep going back to like whenever I go and edit these, like there's times I get really involved and start chuckling at the things that we've talked about.
Right.
And it just kind of goes back to like it's really easy to do this, and I think it's pretty safe for us to do this. Like we could do this for 35, 40 years, and even if we don't make a dime off of it, it's not going to cost us that much money to do.
Exactly. And honestly, it's not a, I mean, for both of us there, of course both of us would be like, "Oh man, it'd be great if like we would be, have the ability to do this full time." I mean, it's always, I think anybody that does something like this has that in them. They have that. There's that want and desire. I mean, it'd be silly to think that they wouldn't. But the fact that we're just doing the fact that we're doing this at all, it has its own rewards. But I guess to reiterate, the fact that anybody like gives a shit, like is still kind of weird to me.
Yeah, it still seems kind of. I know, like you mentioned, like in one of the episodes, like your daughter will say something about the show and it catches you off guard. And there's times when like people on Twitter will say something about the show and it still catches me off guard. It's like, it almost makes you nervous, like somebody's peeked into your private life a little bit. And you're like, oh crap, they listen to us.
Maybe it's just because we both have horrible self-esteem and we don't understand how to handle flattery.
Probably.
Or
that's probably a lot of it. I know. I mean, that's what really pushed us not to start something like this for a long time, is because I think both of us were really scared that you would do that, and somebody'd be like, "Well, why are you doing that? That's stupid. Don't do
dumb.
That. You're stupid. Your ideas are stupid.
You're stupid.
Your dreams.
Put the
your
cardboard
dreams are
roll down. That's fucking stupid."
Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn. Yeah.
Leave it alone. It's a hot mic. But so there you go. I don't know how we ended up getting there, but I think there we go. At 25 episodes, we have the chance to genuflect on what we do and why, and what our dreams are, and how we don't want to be homeless, so we do other things.
I think it's kind of cool to reflect on that, because I mean that's not really was our intention for this, but I mean when we first started this, I think we both had the intentions of going, as long as we could, but I mean you see a lot of shows, they start out and they do 3 to 5 episodes and then they just kind of lose interest. Like it's one of those things that people start up and like, yeah, it'd be kind of cool to do, and it's like, yeah, well, I don't have time to do it. I don't really want to do it that much because they don't enjoy it. But I mean, it's a sign that we really enjoy doing this because we're at 25 episodes. And
I would agree. It's that's another thing is like I've seen a lot of podcasts that they have a few episodes and then they don't. And I'm always curious what the reason is, if it's just got busy with other things or didn't like the format or. But I guess I don't know. There is a part. I hope those people are still talking.
Yeah, well, I think that was kind of my big fear too. Is that if you stop doing this, then like those conversations end altogether.
Right.
And it's nice with this. We're still continuing those conversations, and it seems like at first we're kind of jumbled on the days that we did it, but now it's once a week, the same day of the week, we're usually talking.
Right. And I guess I would also like to point out the fact that, we have this conversation here, but obviously other people don't know this. Like, we have this conversation here, and it's an hour a week, and whatever. But we actually, because of the show, we actually have conversations outside of here. Is also, it's not like we both just get together and sit down and well, this is what happened to me. It's like we actually talk throughout the week.
Yeah. Which I don't think we ever really did before we started this.
No, not at all. I mean,
ever since we
usually it
stopped
was
working
like
together.
usually like one of us would call the other person like maybe every like 2-3 weeks, or we'd see each other once a month to play D and to play Pathfinder or D&D or whatever. But it wasn't like it wasn't definitely wasn't once a week, and it certainly wasn't more than once a week.
Yeah, I'd probably say if we were lucky, once a month, maybe every 5-6 weeks.
Right. I just want you to know, I wish I knew how to quit you.
Don't let the fire burn, my friend. So I guess we gotta
Please
tell
don't
that
let the
story.
invisible
Yeah.
fire burn, my friend. You're not on fire, Ricky. I had this conversation with my wife yesterday because she was like, "When was the last time you listened to a song that actually like moved you in an emotional way? Like listen to a song that like either inspired you or brought you to tears, or or made you angry. Like what was the last song that provoked an emotional response?" And I thought about it and I couldn't think of one.
I can think of one off the top of my head.
Well, I love music, and like I love listening to music, and I listen to all kinds of music. But in terms of an emotional response, I would say that I can listen to music that might provoke an emotional response, but not a profound one.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm sad, I might listen to music that either I'll listen to music that to either bring myself out of sadness or to find something to relate to. When I was younger, when I was like in high school, and like and surprise, surprise, a relationship didn't go well. I would listen. This is so melodramatic. I would listen to November Rain on a loop. And I'd sit in my room in the dark and listen to November Rain on a loop, because apparently, like, I'm like, why can't the world feel my pain? Axl Rose knows my pain.
I used to listen to When I Think About You, I Touch Myself, but that was before I understood what the words meant. There's a vague Buffy reference if you got it.
It's there. But yeah,
That's awesome.
Like I've never like heard a song, like I've never been just like in a general mood and listened to a song and have it bring me to tears or inspire me or make me happy. And she was like, and she found that really odd, because she says that happens to her all the time. That she can listen to a song and it moves her in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think, when was is there anything that can do that? And I would say movies. Like I can watch a movie and it can, or I would say I can watch a movie and recent television. Like I would say, really good shows made within the last like 10 years that can do that can actually like provoke a response out of me. But music, like I love music and I listen to all kinds of music, but I don't find, like I like song lyrics, but I don't find them particularly inspiring in a way. But I can, watch a movie or a bit of film and hear words and think, and listen to what they're saying and listen to the musical accompaniment, and it just and it might do something for me. Recently I posted on our page on Facebook, I posted, what people are considering the greatest 3.5 minutes in television history. The very first scene of that show, The Newsroom. And I listened to that entire speech and it inspires me. And it makes me feel good to be an American. I mean, it provokes a response. I watched when I was a kid. And when I say kid, we're talking like 17, 18. I could watch Return of the Jedi, and the scene in Return of the Jedi where the Emperor is shooting lightning at Luke, and Luke's reaching out his hand and he's calling to his father, and Vader is looking at the Emperor and looking at Luke, and looks back and forth, and then picks the Emperor up, and like the music comes up, and I'm like, his dad is saving him. But I was gonna say that the interesting thing is that with Amanda, movies don't do that for her. Like she's like, I watch, I can watch a movie and it might make me feel, a certain way, but not in a way that music does. And she's like, maybe that's why you know movie lines so well. Maybe that's why you can like recite movie lines and you can have a conversation with another human being using nothing but movie lines.
Yeah, that's something that we always kind of did when we were, I guess, is that what kind of kicked it, is the don't let the invisible fire burn my friend?
Yeah, that's what made me think of it.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of some recent movies or TV. It's mostly TV shows, and I think both of them are definitely from the Whedonverse that have kind of given me that, like, just like that overwhelming, like, oh God, I'm gonna cry. I actually had to look it up because it's been a while since I've seen it, but I think it's the first season of Buffy. Maybe it's the second season, but Buffy and Giles are in the cemetery, and they're talking about something. I pulled up the thing, and she says, she says, does it ever get easy? He says, you mean life? And she says, yeah, does it get easy? He says, what do you mean to say? Or what do you want me to say? She says, lie to me. He says, yes, it's terribly simple. The good guys are always stalwart and true. The bad guys are easily distinguished by their pointy horns or black hats, and we always defeat them and save the day. No one ever dies, and everybody lives happily ever after. And she calls him a liar. And that's one of those that's just like really got to me. I'm sure I was probably sitting at home by myself in my pajamas. Like, Giles understands. Oh, I need my Giles.
I'll tell you, I'll give you a scene in Buffy that actually like was like hit me like a fucking Mack truck. The finale of season 4, where Buffy and Giles and Willow and Xander, they're all sitting around to watch a movie and they all fall asleep. And each segment of the show, they go into each person's dreams, but their dreams are being haunted by the first Slayer, who's actually like working to kill them in their own dreams. It was in Xander's dream where she walks up and Buffy is playing in a sandbox. And Xander looks at her and, and says, Buffy, are you sure you want to be playing in there? It's a really big sandbox. And the camera tilts down and she's sitting in the middle of the desert. And she says, I'm okay. It's not coming for me yet, referring to the first Slayer, the monster in the the monster in the dream. And then Xander says, well, I just mean that, I can't protect you from some stuff. And she says, I'm way ahead of you, big brother. And then he was like, brother. And then this like little music comes up and stuff like that. And that's when I think it hits Xander, the character, because from that episode on, he views Buffy completely differently for the rest of that show.
Instead of because he was really attracted to her and
he was really attracted to her in the first couple seasons, and he hated Angel, and then he hated Spike, and I mean, he had Anya, but that whole thing just seemed kind of like it seemed like he seemed very indifferent to that whole relationship. I think in that episode, that's when he comes to the conclusion, this is how I view Buffy. This is how, of course she's my little sister. Of course that's why I look after her. Of course that's why I want to take care of her. And it seemed like from that point on that's how Xander treated her.
That's a good point. I don't know if I ever really noticed that, but that's a really good point. You okay?
No, I mean, leave me alone. Bye.
Man, we just got all kind of mopey and sad.
I know. I think this was probably my fault, but see, because now I'm trying to like think of like other moments in television and in movies.
Yeah, my other sad one, I might as well go with it to see if you can bring up something more great. Another Whedon's movie or show, but it came from Firefly, and I for some reason, like I watched a ton of Buffy and Firefly when I was living in the house by myself.
Okay.
And it's the episode Out of Gas.
All right.
When I'm sure everybody's seeing Firefly, but the ship breaks down, and Mal's like, "Okay, you guys get in these ships. You go off in your own directions, and if you find somebody, you get the other person or get help." And he's like, "I'm gonna stay here on the ship." And Anara gets with him, and she's like, "Just get in the ship; it'll be fine." He's like, "No, there's not enough gas." And she's like, "There's enough gas." She's like, "You don't have to die alone." And the fucking line just like killed me. He's like, something to the effect of like, "We all die alone." And it was just like, oh.
Yeah, are you okay? Are you okay now?
No.
No.
I don't want to die alone.
We all die alone.
No. But, I mean, there's a happy ending because, at the end when they get back to him and he's kind of passed out, they're like, well, you almost died. And, he goes to kind of like almost fall asleep or go back unconscious. And he wicks himself back up real quick. He's like, "You guys are going to be here when I wake up, right?" And they're like, "Yeah, we'll be here."
Aww.
That's just so moving. We should have Joss on here to tell him
should.
how great he is.
Please come on our show.
We're gonna quote these lines to you from your shows, probably incorrectly.
We'll
but
just say these lines out loud, and then you could just like acknowledge that you wrote it, and then we'll be like, "Oh, I did. We loved it." And then you could just say, "Yes, I wrote that." Like you could even just say it once, and then we'll just play it on a loop.
Yeah. Yes, we'll have to get that at a Comic-Con.
We'll
He
say,
just says, "Yes, I wrote that."
Yes, Rich. Yes, Shawn. I wrote that. And then we'll just play that over and over.
That's awesome.
That'll just be our intro song. It'll just play that over and over for like 20 seconds.
Yes, Shawn. Yes, Rich.
I wrote that. Okay, a profound moment in Firefly. I'll get you this one. There was, I can't think of the name of the episode, but there was one where they pick up a body and they're gonna bring it's no war stories. That's the name of it. They're bringing an old war buddy, his corpse, back to wherever, and that it plays this message that to say I'd like you to take me back to my my parents' house. I want to be buried there. And then he's like, it's funny. I don't remember the whole speech, but the general theme of it was, that war changes people, and maybe for the better, maybe not, but it happens, and change in general happens, and you have to roll with it. God, why do I feel like this is so depressing right now?
It is. I'm trying to find like happy news.
Why do I
stories
feel
or
like
something.
we're like fucking? We
got deep. We started with AI, and then we went to reflecting on our podcast.
God, yeah, this is
sad stories.
So heavy. If anybody's still listening,
stop crying.
Don't. Yeah. If you need a minute to go get a tissue, we totally understand. If it makes you feel better, I'm sure there's monkeys killing each other.
Or a shark eating a seal.
I actually heard a thing about you'll like this. I heard a story. It was about these guys getting in to swim with. They were going to swim with sharks. And so they're wearing like that chain, like that very fine chainmail, that chain mesh suit. And they were like, okay, so here's what. Oh, okay. It was Adam Savage, one of the two MythBusters, And this
Oh,
was
okay.
on the Nerdist podcast. He was talking about this, and he was saying that, they were going to swim with sharks, and they were like, okay, so in the event a shark bites you, like, we're gonna need you to follow this procedure. And then Adam was like, well, we're wearing these like chain mesh suits, so we're okay, right? Like, they had, I guess, it was a stipulation from their insurance company that they had to wear these suits, these chainmail suits while they were underwater. And the guys, they're putting them in the water. They're like, yeah, those really don't work.
That's reassuring.
He's like, well, what do you mean they don't work? He's like, well, it works, but okay, if a shark bites you, there's two things you need to worry about. One of the things is that their teeth, lacerate your skin and cut you deep, and then you bleed to death. That's one danger. And the suits will protect you from that.
Okay, so the one risk, you're safe.
The second danger is that the other thing a shark does once it bites onto you is it clamps down and then wrenches its body, basically trying to rip your arm out of the socket. That does work. The suit doesn't protect against that. And that a shark will do. So basically what the chain mesh suit is able to do for you is that when the shark bites onto you and rips your arm off, you're able to take the arm back with you.
I just imagine like you're sitting on the side and you're like, oh, okay, well, at least I got this metal suit on. I should be okay, right? And the guy's like, yeah, that doesn't work. Sploosh. What do you mean?
Yeah, those don't really work. Shoosh. Have fun.
I recently heard these people kind of talking about their bucket list. And like on your bucket list, you always try to think of things that like you like conquering fears are always kind of on there, or just something
things
like
you
that.
want to do before you die, conquer your biggest fear,
And like I thought, like it's like maybe my thing should be getting in those cages, those great white sharks. And I seriously got freaked out just thinking about it. I was like, "There's no way you can get me in one of those cages."
Did you start hyperventilating?
I did. I'm like, I'm gonna be on the boat.
You were starting to write down. You were like, "Get in."
Hands start shaking. Tiffany finds me an hour later, passed out.
Like a bat with a paper bag on your hand.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
Yeah, there's just no way I could do that.
I don't know what I have
way.
on my bucket list. I want to travel more. There are so many things I want to see. Like, not just in this country. I mean, you have things like, the world's biggest ball of yarn. Of course. Who doesn't want to see that?
Well, yeah.
Want to see the Atlantic Ocean? Well, no. I guess I have seen the Atlantic Ocean. Well, I would like to see... I would actually like to see, New York. I don't know if I would... I know I wouldn't want to live there, but it would be nice to, like, walk around Statue of Liberty, Empire State Building, things like that. But I mean, internationally, like, I want to see Tokyo. I want to see what the fuck that place looks like, a fucking electric dream. That place looks like an acid trip with electricity.
And you get onto the train and get molested by all the people on the train.
Yes!
It's part of the experience.
So excited.
I always think like more historical, like the Great Wall of China would be cool to see. Or
Great Wall of China, Rome, just Rome in general.
Rome would be cool.
Like the Colosseum, the pyramids, the Sphinx.
Yeah, the Sphinx would be cool. Something somebody was talking about, like they're still like they think there's still like pyramids they haven't discovered yet because they've been buried by sand.
My wife is hooked on Ancient Aliens, and so so apparently the theory is that the Sphinx actually wasn't a human being's head at first. It was the god Anubis.
Okay.
Who was the jackal-headed lord of the underworld. That apparently it was his head, and that it was carved down to a human face.
Gotcha.
So there's that, and apparently that connects to aliens. Those shows kind of make me angry, and I hope to God she doesn't hear this because we've had this argument about this. But the reason I don't like Ancient Aliens, it has nothing to do with the guests, and it has nothing to do with that one guy with the fucking crazy, insane hair.
Aliens.
Like, fucking, he has to know. Like, how can he not know that that's how he looks?
Well, I mean, they have memes all over just with him.
Right. I mean, he's got to know that's how he looks and that people are like, what the fuck? He has to know this.
It's like, do you really think people take you seriously?
Right. But anyway, but I digress. It's not that I think that they are, crazy people. I don't think they're crazy people. I know, they're very smart, learned people. They have degrees and they have, they're smart people. I'm not saying that they're dumb. I'm not saying that they're crazy. But the thing that fucking drives me insane to no end about those shows is they throw out, these theories and these hypotheses, and that's it.
They don't present like any facts or anything. It's just
they present evidence. They'll say, look at this. Could this be this, or could it be this? I'm like, that's not fucking conclusive.
Yeah.
Like, give me something real. Like that's the thing is I said, you know what? If one of these people had something fucking real, like a real fucking like, look at this and tell me, like that would be front page goddamn news.
Yeah.
That's the thing that drives me insane about the show is it. And I'm not against people presenting the theory, and it's interesting to see the way they're supporting what they're saying or the speculations that they're making, but they just leave it there. They're like, here's this, and we have this evidence that could be this, but could it be this? And then that's it. And I'm like, well, is it? Or isn't it?
That's just kind of how those shows are based, though. They're just, very like quick ideas, and then you just can kind of like, there's no real way to prove it wrong, but you can't prove it right.
I mean, you see pisses me off that it's on the fucking History Channel. Like, what happened to the history on the History Channel? Like, this isn't history. This is theory.
Well, during Shark Week, they had the Megalodon exist, and they had a photo that was photoshopped, and they knew it was photoshopped when they show it. Like, they have those fake documentaries.
Yeah, the mermaid
it's
one.
The Megalodon one was the great 30-foot shark, whatever, was one of them, too. And there's people out there who watch that thinking it's real.
Right. And then they go on the internet, and they're like, I watched a show about a real shark. And then they are eviscerated.
On this week's episode, we talk about the real-life Megalodon. It exists.
No, it doesn't, dumbass.
Mercy.
You see what he said about me? I'm writing him an angry letter. Dear ass faces.
Reaching back for a little robot chicken.
Fucking, like I the shows don't bother me. I mean, they do for reasons, but I would be less agitated if they weren't on the History Channel. Like, I want to watch history shows on the History Channel. I want to learn about fucking World War II for the 8 jillionth time. Like, even like they have Band of Brothers on the History Channel. I was fine with that because it's historical.
It's fairly accurate, too.
Look, this happened to these people in this time, in this place. That's historical. This isn't historical. This is, look at this evidence, look at this, and it might be this. I'm like, no, that's not history.
That's a YouTube video.
I mean, I'm all for a conspiracy theory. I love them. I love me a conspiracy theory. Just don't put it on the History Channel anymore.
Isn't there a conspiracy TV channel now?
I hope so. If there is, I'd watch it. I'd watch it on there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all about really fucking, like, Illuminati and, New World Order, lizard people, Freemasons, all that stuff. Awesome. Awesome stuff. Aliens, the ancient astronaut theory. So cool. It's cool stuff. Just don't put it on the fucking History Channel. Leave the History Channel so I can learn about Constantine, the Emperor, not the show.
That's one. Oh yeah, there you go. You brought it back around. Oh wait, no, we didn't talk about that. We talked about that before.
Oh yeah.
Damn it.
We talked about it before because we talk aside from this show, and it's because of this show that we are now at 25.
There we go. This was an odd episode.
It was.
I feel good though. We're 25 episodes.
I'm glad
We've
you feel
learned
good,
a lot about each other.
Because we got a little. We brought it down. It went down a little bit, but we kind of brought it back up. We went from sadness and despair, and us questioning ourselves to anger, and then I don't really see us getting brought back into the insert a dick joke, I guess. Here, I don't know.
I think we should be proud of ourselves. I mean, we've got really far with this. We haven't said, "Oh, we don't have time for it." We've kept at it really well, and to me, I think we still have a lot more in us. So,
I'm about to have some more in you. Yeah.
They're like, "Is this their coming out episode?"
Finally happened. Somewhere there are people. There's money changing hands.
I knew it. I knew it.
Tom Pam.
All right. Well, is there anything else you'd like to add before I do a little housekeeping?
No. Damn.
All right.
Damn.
All right. Well, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Language of Bro. You can email us at languageofbromance@gmail.com. Website is languageofbromance.com. You can like us on Facebook and leave us a comment and subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher.
It's radio. You can also find us on where?
It's a network, I think, right?
I heard.
It's the Pod Bros Network.
That's right. There's a bromance on bros.
Bros on
God,
Pod
this
Bros.
is the coming out episode.
All right, well, you want to quit while we're ahead?
If
we're ahead.
Regardless, let's just quit.
All right. Well, I guess that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And I say we eat the beaver.
No, we're supposed to be happy now.
Oh. The mic's hot!
Hi, Mike! Don't touch it!
Goodbye, everybody.